Hospital locked out of patient records. Pipeline shuts down fuel supply to the entire East Coast. 40 million credit cards exposed at a major retailer. These weren't flukes, they were predictable failures. Most of them could have been significantly reduced with one thing in place: a framework. I'm Jeff Robertson. Today, we're breaking down the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, what it is, how it works, and why it matters, whether you're running an enterprise security or trying to protect a 10-person operation. NIST stands for the National Institute of Standards and Technologies. It's a U.S. government agency. Among other things, it publishes voluntary guidelines for how organizations should manage cybersecurity risk. The NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or CSF, originally came out in 2014. It was first written for critical infrastructure, power grids, water systems, financial networks, but it was written clearly enough and practically enough that organizations of every size and every sector picked it up. In 2024, NIST released CSF version 2.0, first major update in a decade. We'll get to what changed. One thing to understand up front: this isn't a checklist, it's a common language, a structured way to talk about and manage cybersecurity risk across your entire organization, not just your IT department. The heart of the NIST CSF is called the core. 6 functions. They cover the full life cycle of cybersecurity from strategy all the way through recovery. The first is govern. It's the first new one in version 2.0, and it's the most important. NIST finally put in writing what practitioners have known for years. Cybersecurity isn't an IT problem. It's a business problem. Govern covers leadership accountability, your security strategy, policy development, and how much risk your organization is actually willing to accept. In plain terms, who's in charge and what are the rules? Before you can protect anything, you need to know what you have. Identify is exactly that: your assets, your data, your systems, your vendors, the risks attached to all of it. I've seen organizations spend significant money on security tools while having no idea what they're actually defending. It's backwards. You can't protect what you haven't identified. This is where people's minds go first when they hear cybersecurity. Protect. Access controls, encryption, security awareness training, hardening your systems. These are your safeguards, the measures you put in place to limit the impact of an attack before it ever starts. Prevention doesn't happen without this function working well. Here's something I tell my students: assume something will get through. Plan for it. The detect function is about making sure you find out about it quickly. Continuous monitoring, anomaly detection, logging. The faster you detect a threat, the smaller the damage. There's a metric in the industry called dwell time: how long an attacker sits in your network before anyone notices. The global average is still measured in weeks. It's not a technology problem. That's a detect function problem. Something went wrong. Now what? Respond is your game plan. Incident response planning, communications, containment, analysis. The organizations that recover fast aren't the ones with the most tools. They're the ones with practiced response plans. If the first time your team works through an incident is during an actual incident, you're already behind. Getting back to normal operations and learning from what happened. Recovery plans, backup, post-incident reviews. The goal here isn't just survival. It's coming back smarter, more resilient than you were before the incident. 6 functions: govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. Together, they cover the full arc, from organizational strategy all the way through recovery. Beyond the core, there are 2 other components worth understanding: tiers and profiles. Tiers describe your maturity level. Tier 1 is ad hoc and reactive. You're essentially making it up as you go. Tier 4 is adaptive. You're continuously improving based on real threat intelligence and measured outcomes. Tiers aren't a report card. They're a conversation starter. Where are we today? Where do we need to be based on our actual risk exposure? Profiles take that conversation further. Your current profile is your security posture today. Your target profile is where you need to be based on your business goals and your risk tolerance. The gap between the two, that's your roadmap. This is what makes the framework scale. The core is the same for a 10-person law firm and a Fortune 500 bank. The profile is what makes it specific to you. 3 reasons this matters practically. First, regulatory alignment. The NIST CSF is voluntary, but HIPAA, FedRAMP, SOC 2, a handful of other compliance frameworks all map directly to it. If you're working toward any of those, the CSF gives you a significant head start. Second, communication. Security teams speak one language. Executives and boards speak another. The framework gives you a bridge, saying we're at tier 2 in our detect function and targeting tier 3 by Q3. That's something a CFO can engage with. That matters when you need budget approved or to get a policy signed off. Third, supply chain risk. CSF 2.0 puts serious emphasis on third party risk. That's not an accident. Think about SolarWinds. Think about Move It. Attackers are increasingly targeting the weakest link in your supply chain, not your front door. Your security is only as strong as the partners that you trust. Here's what to take with you. The NIST CSF is voluntary. It's not a law, but it's widely adopted as a standard for how organizations should think and manage cybersecurity risk. Version 2.0 added a sixth function, govern, and put leadership accountability front and center where it belongs. The six functions cover everything: govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Tiers tell you how mature your program is. Profiles map where you are to where you need to be. The framework works at any organization size. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Most organizations don't have a security failure because they lack tools. They have a security failure because they lack a framework for thinking about the problem clearly. The full framework is free at nist.gov. The CSF 2.0 documentation includes implementation examples for organizations of all sizes. It's worth reading if you work in security or manage security programs. If this was useful, subscribe. I break down security topics like this regularly without the jargon. Drop a comment below. What's the hardest part of the framework to get buy-in or in your organization? I read them all.